In the astrology of December 27th, we start our energy today off with the Sun in Capricorn in a trine to Jupiter Taurus. And so part of the power of this Earth trine is about prosperity, abundance, things manifesting into the physical. And especially, if we keep in mind the relationship between Taurus and Capricorn, today, very much a lot of this good fortune is going to come when we ask for help or ask for advice from those that we sort of deem further in the path. And that might just be further in the path of life, maybe further in our career, maybe someone who embodies a successful romantic relationship with their partner, someone that we look up to for some reason. And so for Taurus, you're going to be asking today and sort of, learning a little bit about how to ask how someone is able to be themselves even in situations where being themselves has adverse effects or requires a certain great deal of bravery, or perhaps, puts them in the position to be in a lot more conflicts than you might feel comfortable with. And it's about not so much asking, how can I be myself? It's, how do I be myself in a way that doesn't, completely endanger me or doesn't feel as though it's putting myself out there too much? And Capricorn is going to have some advice about, how exactly to do that in the way that they would normally do that. For Aries, this is about asking for advice or assistance in the financial or the physical realm. This is very much asking for, how do I prosper in this way? How do I succeed in this? And oftentimes this will be directly connected to finances. It will, be connected to career path, business. This will be connected to something that you actually do. Whereas for Pisces, though, this is very much a third house energy. This is going to be all about asking, for advice about how do you communicate something when fear has been holding you back? How do you communicate something with forthrightness and with courage, even though the situation feels incredibly difficult or hostile to what it is that you think and feel? For Aquarius, this happens in your fourth house. This is, asking for advice about, your family, asking for advice about how do you mend relationships with people in your family that you feel like you've totally gone astray from, or it feels like you've had people in your life that have drifted apart completely. So it's going to be all about sort of mending bridges in your inner world and in your little society, your small collective, just the people in your life. For Capricorn, of course, this happens in your fifth, and so this is going to be about asking for advice today about how it is that you can almost live a more adventurous life and find more excitement and joy for the sake of being joy. So this almost would require asking someone that you see as being, kind of lackadaisical maybe, or just sort of happy-go-lucky. Maybe they don't take things too seriously, and being able to find some joy and sort of follow their example a little bit. Whereas for you as Capricorn, you normally feel as though people are trying to follow your example. And then of course you have Sagittarius, and so this is going to be about asking advice about how you can get things more in order, how you can figure out the little things, how you can be detail oriented in a way that's going to help you be successful in the short term and even in the long term, but basically in the daily form. And for Scorpio, this of course is happening in your seventh house, and so you're going to be asking for advice about relationships. You're going to be asking about how to mend a partnership that has gone basically astray, or it's gone awry. It feels like there's some drifting that's happening, or some types of arguments that you really didn't want to get into or open up to someone else about, but it's important to ask for this advice or help when it's needed. For Libra, this is very much the energy of asking for advice about how to let your inner power come to the surface, how to essentially almost face a certain situation by being a lot more intense or dynamic, where maybe before you were trying to keep the peace or keep things very small and very sort of contained or very manageable, essentially. For Virgo, this is going to be all about asking for a little bit of advice at how do you not so much believe in yourself, but how do you carry on an adventure and keep that belief in yourself even when it feels like all of the evidence is stacked against you, when it feels like what you're doing just is too crazy or it's just too dreamy. There's just no way that that's something that you should think about or focus on. For Leo, of course, this is happening in your 10th house today, so this energy is very much about, like, how do I aim for something so much greater? How can I take the destiny that I want and make it into the destiny that's actually happening? And how have I stopped myself from this occurring? And so Capricorn and Taurus are going to be very helpful people for Leo today in a lot of different ways. And then, of course, with Cancer, this is happening in your 11th. So you are asking, from Jupiter especially, but Capricorn as well, how is it that I can maintain my friendships, or maybe even make new friends when I feel like I'm constantly butting heads with some of the people in my life? What do I do when it feels as though my friends aren't showing up for me? Or how do I show up for them if they're trying to show up for you and you have no idea how it is that you're supposed to reciprocate that? For Gemini, of course, lastly, this is the energy of the 12th. And so this is, asking for advice. How do I deal with loss? How do I deal with mourning? How do I deal with death in the family? How do I deal with tragedies of life not changing me and making me bitter? How can I stay optimistic, excited, and loving when it feels like there's this encroaching darkness overhead? And of course, for all of these questions, for all of the signs asking these questions today, it's so important to remember that these answers are out there, no matter how unique or individual your situation feels. And in a way, it is. This exact composition of situations is unique to you. But all of these individual things, each and every one of them, have been experienced by people before. You are not alone, no matter how much it feels like you might be alone in this situation. Or sometimes even in the small orbit of people in your life, maybe none of them understand, but there are people out there who understand what you're going through, no matter what it is you're going through. And today's a great day to ask for help and advice. So I hope this was helpful for you guys today, and I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day. I will talk to you all tomorrow.